Good to see you all. Um, we don't have much, well, personally, we don't have much going on this week, so I hope you guys have some stuff you want to chat about.
Nah, my stuff in Detroit is frozen.
Yeah, it's
Can't-
a
Nobody
couple of the
wants to
guys.
work. It's too cold. Can't get anything done.
Yeah, this is the same for us in St. Louis. It's taken a little bit longer to get those projects done, but hopefully they'll be done soon. I know Jason and Cody were flying out today to go to Las Vegas, and Jason almost didn't make it because of the storm coming in, but I think he said he was there, so that's good. They got there safe.
I would have gone, but there was some family stuff going on.
Yeah, we had to change our plans at the last minute as well.
Hopefully they have another one end of the year. That'd be really nice. Or middle of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if he would do that. We were talking about the same thing because a lot of the people from the East Coast going out there last year they had some issues with the weather as also, but um, they were able to get there. So I don't know, maybe somebody will suggest that to Zuber to have it a little bit closer to summertime or maybe even in the fall. That would be nice.
Yeah, whenever, but let's do it. I get a chance to meet people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been talking to Mark, um, and potentially thinking about doing it in Pittsburgh, maybe later in the year.
So to get together.
Hopefully, yeah, for an East Coast get together or everyone to get together, just because I agree. It's the weather, the cat distance, and then also it's just, to be a little bit more difficult. But right now it's in preliminary stages.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Keep us posted on that one for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I know over the last few weeks, I've been talking about the fact that we were trying to do a HELOC and stuff on one of our investment properties, but the company, um, our lender started the application. It was through a company called Figure. And you know, once he started the application, it was basically automated after that. And they just kept asking for more and more things, and it wasn't very clear on what they wanted. And you can't really get a hold of a real person. So we ended up stopping that process and found a different lender to work with. And it looks like we were going to go ahead and do a cash out refinance because the property in question was paid for in cash. And we just needed some money to finish up some repairs that we've been doing. But with the new lender, it looks like we might have the option of doing the cash out refinance or a HELOC. So we just finished submitting all of our paperwork to him. And so hopefully by next week, we'll be able to report back and let you guys know if it was working or not. The the term so far, we locked in our rate at 7.5 if we're going to do the cash out.
Can't believe that. Yeah, it's saying we're excited about 7.5, but that's a great poll right there.
Yeah, it seems decent for a cash out. I think from what we were seeing on the HELOC, we were seeing closer to 9.5 on those, which I wasn't too excited about, but I would almost rather have a HELOC than do a cash out refinance because, then we can pay it down and use it again versus just getting a loan on the property. So hopefully he'll have an option for us on the HELOC as well. You mentioned projects, Mitesh, in Detroit. What are you waiting to get done there?
My commercial properties.
Okay.
There's two buildings. One's 4 unit, the other one's 1 unit. 5 units total. We kind of had trouble with the HVAC guy. He had some health issues, so we had to find another one. But then it was like winter time, so I just had to wait.
Yeah.
So once the HVAC is in, then we could do the interior, which shouldn't take too long. But the HVAC was the critical path, which we kind of missed by 2 months.
Mm. Yeah. Is that the one you were talking about? So that was the heating was for all the units?
Yeah, there's gonna be a heater HVAC for each unit. So
Oh,
we're gonna put in one for each unit, and then we had two people signed on, and then one was the like a tax preparer, which kind of got blown out of the water because we didn't finish it for her to move in, which she wanted to move in end of December. We were on track to get there, but then the HVAC guy had health issues and uh, couldn't do anything for a month or two after that.
yeah. Winter time. It's been pretty tough, and all of our stuff is back there, as you know, in Indiana and Missouri and
Yeah. Well,
Illinois.
with the heater, we're we need to get the heat so they can work on the interior.
Got it. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, it's kind of like stuck in a holding pattern right now. Um, yeah, I think also I was just watching Ed Dowd, and he's saying now with the decrease in with the what do you call it, the decrease in government spending in terms of finding waste and fraud and that kind of stuff, and getting rid of the employees, that's going to reduce the budget, and that's going to be less inflationary. So we're going to start seeing lower interest rates. Plus, it's going to cause a recession with the less spending from the government. That's going to cause a bit of a recession. So that's gonna happen first, and then the interest rates will go down after that. And then, oh yeah, rents and also property prices are expected to come down. Also with the illegal immigration and stopping that and seeing less people um, using up services, etc., you're going to see a drop in rents.
Yeah. I was thinking the first few months would be pretty, um, that we might see some changes we didn't expect. It'll be interesting. And as you know, we have two of the properties that we were finishing up rehabs on. We'll be finishing up in the next week or two, and we're getting occupancy inspection. So we'll have three in that St. Louis market that we'll be trying to fill. So we'll be,
Yeah, see how it goes.
yeah,
It's probably going to be a little weaker than last year. Um, so let's see.
yeah. And this time of year, just everything just hit at the wrong time. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll at least get some decent tenants in there, and even if the rents are a little bit lower, just to get some good bodies in there. Hopefully, they'll stay for a while. Because I think a few weeks ago we talked about the fact that,
Vacancy.
yeah, the vacancy, but
Yeah,
occupancy
each month
inspections.
is a 10%. Each month is 10% almost.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't just want anybody in there, but
Yeah, yeah. Then it takes 3 months to kick them out.
yeah,
You're better off waiting an extra month.
yeah.
Frank, could you update us on your gun incident?
Um, so the property manager gave the tenant the 30-day notice, and that was at the beginning of the month. So they were saying if she doesn't leave on her own within the 30-day period, then they'll start the eviction there. And the eviction in there, it's in Illinois, and it's about $400 to do the eviction, and that's pretty close to what we paid in Milwaukee when they did two of for us there. It was 450 there. So we're hoping that she'll just leave on her own. one, I guess, kind of blessing on that one is we bought that one cash also. So we don't really have a mortgage to worry about there. But we still need to, obviously we set aside for taxes and insurance, but it's not like the others that have a mortgage to pay each month on that one. The rest of the properties are doing pretty well. The triplex is doing super right now. One of the tenants just renewed their lease for another year, so that was nice. And the Gary property, that tenant, she was a little bit behind last year and she had ended up getting rental assistance, and the rental assistance ended in December, and she paid for January right away, and they did a small rent increase there. But this month she's a little behind because she was sick. So the property manager checked in with me to let me know that she contacted the property management company, let them know that she was going to be late because she was sick. And I think they said they verified with her employer that that was true. And they wanted to know if I was okay with accepting the rent late. And I told them I was okay with accepting it late, but I would be concerned because if she pays at the end of the month and then March is right around the corner, we'll have to see how she does in March, and we might have to make some changes there if she isn't going to be able to keep up with the rents. I don't want to go through another eviction right now, but if she's not going to be able to stay caught up, I don't know what else I could do.
Has she promised her tax return to you, Frank?
No, I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah. I just got that today for one of my tenants that's late, so I was just wondering if you're getting the same rigmarole.
No, I haven't heard any more other than I guess she wanted to check in and just let me know. I think that, I don't know, I feel good at least that she let the property manager know that she was going to be late and why she was going to be late, because most of the time they just don't say anything, right, until it's too late. So I felt good about that, but we'll see what it looks like next month. That would mean the tenant that pulled the gun, if she goes through eviction, and then the one in Gary, if she ends up having to leave, then that'll be 2 more empty units. So not a good way to start the year, but we'll see.
It's kind of true what Suber says, people are always like January and February as a rule. I know I was dealing with last year, November and December. I think one of the first tenant that I have for 2 years, no problems with rents whatsoever. She will always pay late, like towards the end of like the 10 to 15, and paid her late fee.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't really affect me so much because I get disbursed at the end of the month.
Uh-huh.
So I don't really see a fluctuation in the rent. But November and December, she just stopped completely paying and took her to court, and somehow she appeared with both months rent. So the judge said, let's wait until January. We'll meet you in court like January 7th. You should be able to have January's rent. Again, showed up to court January 7th with the rent.
Mm.
So technically the judge gave us the okay to evict because it was like 3 consecutive months now.
Mm-hmm.
But we made the executive decision to hold on to the tenant since she was caught up. But we'll see what happens.
Just file like a 30-day. I don't know, I would start kicking people out at least. That's what I would do.
Is
Our only
is
concern there would be like we're kicking a tenant down in the middle of winter. And so it would be hard to get another tenant in there. And if the tenant pool that we currently have is normally people are getting kicked out of their other apartments in winters because they're like probably getting evicted. So I would be risking getting another bad tenant.
Okay, then wait a couple months then, guess,
Where's the
until
property
they,
at, Lindsay?
This is Gary.
Yeah, I definitely do that.
Yeah, we're holding off.
Are you guys charging late fees on these late payments, or how does that work for you?
Yes. And late fees alone, I've been doing like almost $150 a month on that tenant
Yeah.
consistently.
If she comes up with the money, I guess makes sense. Are you spending a lot of? Are you having to extend yourself like financially every time you deal with the court, or no?
No, again, like I said, I get disbursed at the end of the month. So it never really affected me up until she did not pay for those 2 months.
Yeah, I just read this out.
yeah, I think we've had the conversation before about, you know, some landlords are okay with the tenant being late each month as if they're collecting late fees and things like that. Somebody in the group had mentioned that if they're late and then the landlord is worried that they're not going to get their rent and $50 or $75 wasn't worth the worry. So I think it just depends on each individual person. We have gone through that a couple of times as well, Lindsay, where they go to court and one tenant was behind in Milwaukee. They were behind like almost $6,000 and they went to court and they just came up with $6,000 out of the blue. So you wonder, but
you would think they'd pay you before the court,
yeah,
you know?
you would think that.
I don't get it. It's like they pat themselves on the back just to every time they pay rent, I guess.
Yeah, and it still cost us something to go to court, right? So we're out.
Yeah.
In that case, it was $750 to go to court, but we did end up letting them stay. It both tenants did that, and this is a duplex in Milwaukee, and both tenants did it and came up
They're
with the money.
exchanging notes.
Yeah, they're getting together. And so before we agreed to let them stay, we did an inspection on the property, and they were taking really good care of the place. And so we decided to let them stay. We ended up changing property management companies kind of after the first court incident, and the next property manager, once they started getting behind, and I had given the property manager the history of what happened before, and they said they're just they wouldn't, if it were them, they wouldn't let the tenant stay again just because they've already done it. They know what they can get away with. And so they encouraged me to move forward with the eviction. So we did. And I think they're right. It's because on that one too, we do have the mortgage and we have to pay it, even if they don't pay us on time. So we do have a couple of property managers that don't deposit the checks until the 25th, like Lindsay was saying. So as long as the rent is in by the 25th, we still get our deposit at the same time each month. So, but like Dion says, if they're paying at the end of the month, they only have another week before the rent's due for the next month. So that gets to be a habit, and doesn't make it any easier on us to pay our mortgages and stuff. So.
But okay, so they're late again, so you're doing an eviction. Or you already did it, or
The one I was just talking about was
Yeah.
the two tenants. They were late by a couple of months at least. They went to court, they caught up. We did an
so
inspection.
are they currently caught up or are they late again?
No, those tenants we evicted.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we evicted both of them. And so we have new tenants that moved in November and December of this year, of
So
last year.
how far were they behind when you evicted them?
The second time around, they were behind 2 months each.
And they couldn't come up with the money at that.
At that time, no, we didn't get any money on the second time.
Did you get any money between when they paid in court and the eviction date?
The second time, no. I
Oh,
think
wow.
one of the tenants paid $1,000 and she owed about $3,000.
Hmm.
So we got a little bit, but not much.
Do you go for judgment or do you just do the eviction only?
Just the eviction, yeah.
Okay. I'm wondering if people do the judgment and then go after the tenants for the judgment.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different
What's up?
hey,
I think they're tuning in from Vegas already.
yeah, they got there this afternoon. Or Mark did. Mark and Jason and Cody should be over there now. I thought we would be rid of him for a while. I thought that would take his attention away and so he wouldn't bother us this evening, but
They tried to stop me because of the trucks you gave me.
yeah, didn't they know I hid drugs in that little crock? I was hoping they would catch you.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet up with Cody and Jason right now.
Oh, good. You guys all made it safe. I was just telling folks that Jason almost got snowed in.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, who else is flying? Who's coming in tomorrow or this weekend? Or
Well, Harrison was here. He said he was getting ready to go tomorrow. I think Lindsay, you're going too, right?
Yeah, but I don't get there until Friday. I'm a little bit jealous of you guys hanging out.
What are you guys gonna be doing before the weekend?
tonight is Denny's later on. Tonight and tomorrow is Denny's meetup. I'll meet you knuckleheads tomorrow night. Oh, hey, Philadelphia. That was a nice game, man. Yep, everybody was happy. Yeah, tonight is Denny's. And then I told Millennial Mike I thought there's a bachelor party going on for him while he's here, but he said he's with his girlfriend, so probably not.
Probably safer not to.
Yeah. He wants to keep her, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, well, you fellas get back to it. I just came to make trouble as usual.
Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Have fun.
Have fun down there, you guys. I miss seeing you guys at Denny's.
Yeah, I get in tomorrow night at 6.
And where are you flying in from?
It's convenient for me. North of Seattle, there's a little regional airport called Bellingham that I can fly out of. It's directly across my work, so it's super nice.
Oh, okay. So that's a pretty short flight for you.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours.
Cool. We'll have a good time. And Dennis, you're
Yeah.
going too, right?
Yep, I'm going.
Yeah.
I will be there pretty late tomorrow night, so we'll see what happens with the Denny's then.
Tomorrow night.
It starts at midnight, so
Yeah. It's at midnight, but I think Dennis was joking around that he goes to bed at 9 o'clock, so he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to stay up that late.
No,
All
it's
right.
crazy.
I'm usually looking at the back of my eyelids too at 9:30. So
Yeah. Well, you have all day Friday to sleep if you do go.
I can definitely sleep in, that's for sure.
Cool.
Problem is, if you go to bed, then you can.
Yeah, I think we didn't get much sleep when we went last year.
I'm going just by myself. The wife's staying home, so I should have no excuse. But I have a inkling suspicion I'll probably not get a whole lot of sleep.
There you go.
Didn't help too. I found out my good buddy from up here in Seattle, him and his wife are down there too. So I was like, oh dang, I'll have to meet up with you.
Oh, cool. They're down there for something different.
Yeah, they just go down for fun.
Oh, nice.
What? You're not down there for fun?
Oh, I'm definitely going down for fun. I'm going there with a reason. You know, the ORAD event. They're just going to have fun. Or to meet a bunch of you guys down there. Don't have to do it Zoom.
Yeah, a couple of the guys said they were going to take their laptops to Denny's and open them up while they're there at the meeting.
They should record the meeting.
The Denny's meeting?
Yeah.
Is that the downtown Denny's? For Fremont?
It's close to it. Yeah. It's
There's
the
a fancy one on Fremont.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's not that one.
It's not that one. Okay.
No, it's like East Lake Mead. It's like a typical Denny's.
Oh, okay.
I know. I was
Lake
thinking
Mead.
the same thing. I was like that. I was like, oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a fancy one. They serve, actually, there's a lot of weddings that happen there, and they serve liquor too.
I'll have to check that out maybe. I'm staying at the south end of the strip, so it's going to be a nice little hop, skip, and a jump every morning.
South Point?
No, I'm down south of the airport on the south end of the strip.
What? It's a, casino hotel or another
No,
one?
it's we got a timeshare. It's Woolmark by Wyndham
Oh,
It's
okay,
called
okay.
Boulevard. Yeah, that's where I'm a timeshare owner, so I take
Oh, okay.
advantage of my timeshare.
Yeah, the south part is really nice. It's nice and quiet, especially South Point area. South Point's really nice, nice and
Yeah,
quiet.
it's just south of us where I'm staying, probably about 2 Vegas
Cool,
blocks, I think.
cool.
Yeah,
Did
I'm
anyone
just.
buy a virtual ticket last year? Because I was
I didn't think
curious
they
if
had virtual last year, did they?
It
because I was
was,
curious if you could watch it while it's live and then you also get a recording of it, or only after it's recorded then they release it.
I think he said that you would be able to watch it live and then
Okay.
it will be a little while before the recording is put up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. He said they did that last year, but I don't recall people being able to watch it live. I thought they were just getting a recording afterwards.
It was just a recording.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you, Dennis, it's been a while since we've spoken, but you got your turnkey rental, and I was wondering how that one's going. And also, you were talking about looking at some different markets if you've zeroed in on another market.
Yeah, the rental's going pretty good. You know, rocky start, probably like most. Um, especially with like the property manager, very little communication, taking a long time to get back to me. Um, but it's gotten a lot better. I think they've hired several more people, so now it's instead of one email, they have multiple emails spread out for like repairs and maintenance and leasing and tenant relations and all this other stuff. So it's definitely gotten a lot better. Haven't had any issues so far. It's cash flowing really well, and just kind of cross my fingers, make sure that it's good. But I'm still, even though the property manager has gotten better, I'm still considering um, either trying to self-manage from a distance, see how if I can leverage Hemlane or something like that, or maybe a couple different ones put together, or go with maybe the property manager that Harrison has up in Akron. So I've kind of got a couple options, but I don't think I'll stay with the one I'm currently with. As far as another location, um, I can't say 100% that I've really figured something out. I have been kind of going back and forth, which is what I probably shouldn't be doing. But I've been looking Akron multifamily because that's what I'm more interested in. I feel like that's going to be a little bit better is to look at the multifamily. There's quite a few of those. I'm working with the same agent that Harrison is, so we get the same emails and we see the same deals, and there's quite a bit out there. So Akron's seems to be a pretty good market. Um, and then I kind of go back towards Memphis just because I know that area pretty good because I spent many, many months studying that area. So I still kind of look around there, but it would be great if I could find something locally. But I don't know. I kind of wonder, and that's why I'm like interested in maybe utilizing some of these what are they called? Like the leads, like Coffee Closers and Bright Investor and some of those other what's PropStream. I wonder if utilizing one of those would help me locally because I would be able to find things, off market.
What's your local market, Dennis?
It's Charleston, South Carolina. I mean, I'm not quite in Charleston, but I'm in that area.
Reach out to Hunter. He might
Hunter
be able
Gore.
to be, yeah, he's
Hmm.
in the South Carolina market. He might have a software. I know he uses something to get his leads and stuff like that. He might be willing to show you kind of some of the batches he gets from the program that he uses. That do you know what specifically you're wanting to look for? Because a lot of those tools you can narrow them down to so many different facets in terms of how much equity is on the house to how many days on market they've been, could be when they last were purchased. I mean, you'd want to be able to quantify exactly what you're trying to extract out of it, if you understand what I mean by that.
Okay, yeah, and I'm still learning those types of tools. I'm trying to use them with free trials, and then like Bright Investor right now, I have a month
Yeah, definitely
free.
do that, but take
Yeah.
advantage of it. Don't start, getting too many of them, and because you need to really extract that data, and if you can get it into like a data sheet format, that way you can start making your calls. Put it to use for you. Because I did Privy for a while, and I actually just was too busy with my W-2 job, and I was a bird dog for a sub-2 group, and I didn't spend enough time doing my own work to utilize the cost and the expense for it. They're super handy and super useful. You got to buckle down and put it to use. Otherwise, the free trial is great, and that's definitely something to explore. What you feel like you're getting you're getting what you want out of it. Specifically if you're wanting to um, go multifamily, or that's something you probably need to really decide on what you feel is your best course of action. If it's single family or multifamily. Me personally, I'm targeting multifamily just simply because it's especially if you're considering self-managing your property, you're going to have multiple units. It's easier to manage multiple units um, per, you're self-managing
And they're in the
versus
same
you have,
location.
yeah, versus you
Yeah.
have like 5 or 6 single family properties, they could be really spread out in an area.
Right.
And that becomes really, it makes it more of a challenge, especially when you're trying to construct your team that is going to assist you on managing those properties, your contractor, your handyman, your electrician, your plumber, your cleaner, whatever it may be. If you have like a 5 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, a 10 unit, you can do a lot more with one property versus spreading yourself out so much. But that's my own
Yeah.
personal.
No, that makes sense. And I think going back to, you talking about the time limitations and stuff like that, another thing that kind of interests me because of that is the lumberjack landlord. He was promoting a lady named Jen Stewart, who has like a company that does some sort of, I don't know if anybody would know
Wholesaler
better.
funnel filler.
Yeah, okay, so that's what it was. But so they're doing, they already have like a bunch of virtual assistants on board, and they're kind of going through and finding those deals for you. Now it's like 500 and what do you say, 540 a month or something like that. But I suppose if you were able to find one in a month, or in 2 months, and you're able to save quite a bit, like with some sort of a creative finance deal, then it would be worth it. But it takes a lot off of your plate, and because you're paying somebody to look for a certain amount of hours per week for these deals.
Yeah, those are great. It's you got to think of it this way too, though. Like, are you prepared that when you get those hot leads, because they're going to get you hot leads, you got to be able to jump on them and be able to, structure or a PSA or having that submitted, an offer submitted, and being able to negotiate with with them on it in terms of their leads, because they're wholesaling. They pretty much have gotten everything wrapped up for what
Kind of
it
like a
is.
capital and debt readiness question as part of that, right?
Yep. You got to be able to get across the finish line. So with the capital, and those, I mean, you're getting your money's worth by submitting that versus you go the alternative routes. I mean, that's just something I need to start doing, and something the rest of you guys could consider as well, is that if you're part of the Sub2 free community on Facebook, or if you are going into your local markets and you're joining some of those groups, get familiar with some of the people that are on those groups that are wholesalers. Get to know who they are, see how many transactions they do. You can vet them. That's another good way that you can find off-market deals. I know that's what Millennial Mike has done in his market, and I know that's some of the other guys on. I'm trying to think who else. That's what they do in their markets as well. Is they have some wholesalers that they are connected with, and they've met through either a Facebook group or they've done a local meetup and they've met them as well. But they will bring you hot leads like that, and it's you got to remember that you're going to be paying them 5 to 15, potentially even more in terms of assignment fees, because they're bringing you pretty much a signed, sealed, delivered offer if it works for you.
And that stuff is like all foreign to me. So maybe I'll just stick with normal conventional and go with the multifamily or single family home.
Don't be afraid of it though. Yeah, I just YouTube it, learn on it. A lot of that stuff, there's a lot to be made in utilizing those things. The difference between conventional, it's just that, or so a wholesaler, basically what they do, they're going to bring you a property that's pretty much under contract already. They're going to spell out all the terms. You just got to be able to come up with the financing for it. You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, I understand. I think the other issue though, especially in South Carolina, so maybe I would have to look somewhere else, is that wholesaling, it's still legal in South Carolina, but there's some certain stipulations that they have now. Like you have to actually own the property before you can market it or bring it to anyone. And there's a lot of restrictions now with the wholesale. So I don't know if maybe
So
South Carolina is
that's
not the
what
right
you
spot.
call a double close.
Okay.
And so they wrap it up into a contract. The wholesaler has it wrapped up into a contract. They get the deed, and then basically what they do is they double close with you. So what ends up happening is you have to pay more fees in order to transfer title. So that's, and if you're working with, someone who is very familiar with wholesaling in your market, they will explain that to you. And also, I'd say at that point, it would be within your best interest, if you're doing something such as this, is to have a real estate lawyer in your back pocket. Just reach out, or I would say Google it, find a good real estate lawyer in your market. Ask them all the questions like what they would charge for structuring a PSA. How many real estate transactions do they do a year in terms of drafting up a PSA for a buyer and a seller? Just get all those information, because having a very knowledgeable and handy real estate lawyer is gold, because you building that relationship down the line, it's going to put you in a position to where you could do creative deals, because you're going to need them to do that for you and represent you as well.
Great, thanks.
No problem.
Sounds like there is quite a bit to learn with that process, but I think it's probably similar to what you've been through already, what most of us have been through already, right? That buying our first property was kind of the same in the beginning. We didn't know much about the process either, but now that you've done it once and you're familiar with it, I think Matt in his course was actually talking about something that we've all expressed interest in, as far as actually role playing in a seller finance deal. So in his boot camp this time around, he's going to be doing that with his students, which I think is super valuable. I almost I considered taking the boot camp again. We already took it once, but since we have taken the course, I think we could just do the boot camp. It's still $1,000 though. But
I'm in the boot camp.
Hi, Jim. Yeah, I know you are. So I think that's a pretty cool scenario to help people get a little bit more used to, talking to sellers about seller financing and things like that, and trying to figure out terms and those kinds of things would be pretty interesting.
I did that for about a year. It is super, super helpful when it comes to talking to an agent, talking to a seller. You getting those reps and having those conversations, it makes it really easy when it comes to trying to land a deal. And I think that's awesome that Matt's doing that. I think probably what I'll do is I'll post in the group. There is a guy that I'm connected to that does basically like a closer kind of conversations through Sub2 that is really, really good. He explains a lot in terms of tonality, to how to get like specific information on what you're looking for in terms of if you're talking to an agent or talking to a seller, which are crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And then the importance of the follow-ups, like how often you should call them, how do you approach that phone call, stuff like that, especially when it comes to an agent, because when it's in a super competitive market like we had back in 2021, it's being able to get the right information to an agent, and getting it from the agent. Then on top of that, it's also like in the follow-up, like knowing like if they're just avoiding the conversations, because a lot of times if you're calling on a property that's getting a lot of phone calls because there's a lot of people that are interested in the property, especially if it's been on the market for a long time, a lot of times agents are just not going to answer the phone. And so just calling them and then they not answer. Like you got to understand, sometimes it takes 4 phone calls right after each other in order to get them to answer, and that could be the difference of you getting the deal versus someone who doesn't. So role playing is awesome.
Yeah.
I think if anybody's interested, you can find a lot of this information, especially on YouTube. Like it's the Britannica encyclopedia of anything you want to learn and know how to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it was Matt, when Matt was talking about Jen and her services, that there's different steps you could go in with too. And I think he gave an example of, if her and her people find a deal and they just give you the lead and you take it from there, or if you want them to work out some of the details, that's an option as well. Get you a little bit closer to.
Wow, that would be amazing, because I mean, pretty much what they're doing is they're giving a partial lead. They might not even take an assignment fee. So that might be something to where, like, if the deal is tight or whatever, it could be tight. That $15,000, that $12,000 assignment fee, you could get away with instead of paying them, because that's what they're doing. Is they're gonna do an assignment fee for what they bring in on top of the $500 you're already paying.
Frank, have you thought about using Jan at all?
It's crossed my mind, but there's a couple of things, I guess, to think about. This year for us is really going to be about stabilization, but we've also talked about, not waiting till the last minute. So for something like this, yeah. So, like Troy was just saying, to put yourself into position to be ready in case they did find a deal for you in whatever market you're looking at. And it's like I was just telling Dennis, that's kind of the same thing with the stuff we're buying. If it's off the MLS or whatever, you need to put yourself in position so that when the lender says you're ready to go, and they don't have to wait on you to, gather information or financing or anything like that. So I do think about that. And really, when you think about the expense, like Matt was saying, he did it for 3 months. So it was $1,500 to do that, but he got tons of leads out of it, and a lot of good prospects. So from what he has said, I think it was money well spent for him. But you do need to make sure that you got all your ducks in a row when they start bringing leads. One thing that I guess a question for you all, see how you all feel about this, but the other day, Esther and I were talking about, because you all know we're in a few different markets, and, sometimes Dion gives me a time about that, because I don't know if people think, like, when they hear me talk, that we just went chasing after deals wherever we could find them. But you've heard me say that we started out buying turnkey deals, and they were in different states. So there was, I would call it trusted boots on the ground, working with the turnkey promoter that we worked with. And now that we've been in it for a little while, the process hasn't been that difficult. I don't think it's that it's, I don't know, more risky, I guess, being in a few different markets, since we have good property managers that we like now. We have had to fire 2 property managers along the way, but now I think we have a good group, and we're starting to build a better group in St. Louis. So since we started in all the areas, we're zeroing in on St. Louis and we'll probably be there for a while. I brought that up to Zuber one day and wondering about diversification into different markets. If, say, you have 10 properties, like just say they're in St. Louis, and after you get the 10 down, do you go and try another market? And he said, absolutely not. He said, why, if something's working good for you in a market, just keep going there and don't add risk by trying to learn another market.
Plus, you have the network, you know, the market. I mean, that's. Hey, Frank, can I offer an observation on what you said earlier, and then maybe a question for you? Something you said, like, so. I mean, I last year when I was at the ORAD event, like I noticed this progression. It was like many of us, not everybody, started buying relatively turnkey, and then it was like, well, it's not turnkey, but she needs a little bit of lipstick. And then it was like we're buying like like lights, like skin refreshes. And now, like over the last year, I bought things that were like, we were gutting stuff down to the studs and redoing and changing layouts and moving stairwells. And then the other day, I was on the call last night with Robert in Denver, and Coach Carson put out a video on Monday around he's actually now looking at build to rent, like buying land. And I'm like, it kind of makes sense. Like it's like if you're chasing return, you're always going to get more return on a rehab than a turnkey. You're always going to get more return on a if you play it smartly, right, you're going to get more return on a build to rent than on a rehabs. Like I feel like that's just the natural progression, depending on how aggressive you want to be, and everybody's going to find their own timeline. Just anyway, it's an observation, but the thing you said the other thing you said that was interesting is we manage everything we have, and we're doing pretty well. Occasionally I get a little distracted, but generally we're doing pretty well. But you said you fired a property manager. Like, what is the process to fire a property manager and bring in a new one? Like because they have a lot of the data and contracts and other stuff. And like, I'd be curious if you have any perspective on that transition experience, any lessons learned or anything like that.
Yeah, for us, it was the first property manager that we let go was one that we hired for the triplex, which was our first property. And I've told that story. They were a little bit far from the property, so they didn't go to the town where our property was. They would try to wait to bundle up jobs and go there all at once to get a bunch of things done. And when it came to trying to show the property for leasing and stuff like that, it just wasn't working out. They were a little vindictive when I told them, because just by chance I found a really good guy. He went to look at the property before we signed up with him. He gave me some feedback, and it was December, January when we found him. And, when we signed up with him, he was there in the storms trying to figure stuff out, looking at the property, how to get the utilities on and everything. But we were with a company called Three Rivers, and I started with them because my mom used them in Texas, and they were good in Texas, but in Kansas City, they weren't. So they dragged their feet getting the new guy the information, getting him the keys, and getting him all the stuff. The second time it went better. The second time we were in Milwaukee, we were with RPM is like a franchise also. So we were with a branch of RPM in Greater Milwaukee. They were super expensive. The maintenance and everything, they just always seem to be adding a ton of money on top of all the repairs they were doing. So when last year when we went to Vegas, I met Justin Cambra at the Denny's meetup, in fact, and he had like 80 properties in Milwaukee, and he recommended the company that he was working with. So about 5 months ago, we switched. That transition was quite a bit smoother. The old property management company handed over everything, the leases, the keys, and that kind of thing. a lot better than the first company did. So I think, I don't know if it's right to say that they're obligated to hand everything over as quickly as possible. I think one thing that we learned was when you're firing them to be as professional as possible, and that would ruffle fewer feathers, and then they might be a little more helpful in the transition. But if you just say, you know, you guys suck, I'm out of here, then they're gonna have a different viewpoint. You were talking about I guess you called it a natural progression. We've been talking about that recently as well because, um, you know, like we were just saying, our stuff in the beginning was turnkey, um, and then, like you said, you go to light lipstick, and then we haven't done. I would say we've done medium-sized projects, not full gut rehabs or anything, but that would probably be the next step for us. And I've said recently too that with each purchase, we try to get better. I forget, we were talking the other day about even just buying newer buildings, right? Because the triplex is a really old building. I think it was built in 1904. And then we went to St. Louis. Those are all 1950s. So they're a little better, but they're still 70 something years old. So in 10 or 20 years, those are going to be really old homes. And if you haven't kept them up well, I think you might have a challenge. But our friend Cody, he's been buying things in the 90s and the 2000s. So I think that's part of a progression that we're looking at. And then I did see, you know, Brandon, who's been on Zuber's channel, and he's in school and stuff, but he does build to rent. And that is appealing. I think the return isn't too great right away, but you're going to have a lot less maintenance and things on buildings that are brand new. And then in 20 years, they're just 20 years old, you know. So I think that's what we hope to work towards too, now that we have a few under our belt.
My only concern with that is the time it takes. Because you're in California, you're 2 years out minimum.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, he's in Texas, and I guess you could do it wherever, but that's a whole.
For us, for contractors, I'd rather build my own.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, and just like Dennis was saying, and what Troy was talking about earlier, it's a new process, right? So, like, I have no experience buying a piece of land. You know, how do you know you're buying it in the right place, and all the due diligence you need to do to check for flood zones and different things like that.
And zoning, I mean, zoning, that's like I did one experiment on that and it was ugly and I ended up walking away from the deal. It was, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a whole new can of worms, but I think, and just like we've learned, you know, buying the properties that we have, there have been a few mistakes, lots of lessons, but we're through it now, right? If and I guess it depends on the, I don't know, the amount of risk, you know, because for us being in St. Louis or wherever, we haven't really ever spent more than 40,000 to get into a property, and it's been quite a bit less on some. I think that has helped us because if we bought, you know, say if we were only 25K all in on a deal and you lose it, you can recover from that. But if it's substantially more, it might stop you in your tracks.
Yeah, what if you have to put 150K down on a deal, right? Then suddenly you're all in, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So Jim, you've been at this for a long time.
I've been in research for a long time. I haven't actually purchased property yet.
I was just going to say, I was just going to ask if you're fairly comfortable, would you be fairly comfortable buying a piece of land somewhere and
Oh,
building?
absolutely. Absolutely. I've been doing so much research on land. Mariposa, Sacramento, El Dorado, Calaveras, Amador. I've been looking at all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you were saying, zoning is an issue, but zoning for residential is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to do glamping or something else, totally another story. But getting a house, no problem. The biggest problem is finding comps.
Uh-huh.
Sold comps, rent comps, all that stuff, they're harder to find in those remoter areas. If you're trying to do infill lots, that's another story, but infill lots, they usually charge way too much for.
Yeah.
And then you're getting into the actual. So with rural property, you're looking at septic, you're looking at well. Well, with regular infill property, you're looking at tap-in fees for your gas, your power, your water, and your sewer. Those get up to 20, 30 grand. So either way, you're paying. Anyway, in California, everybody has at least $4 school impact fees to start with and everything else. So you're not starting to build for under 40 to 50 grand. And you're looking at anywhere between 12 to 18 months in bookwork before you even start building.
Yeah, that's true. My mom was looking at adding a granny unit to her lot. Was about 7,000 square feet. It had a 2-1 on it already, and she was approved to build, but she could only go up to like 680 square feet. But just to get the process started was 23,000, for soil samples and sewer, water, and gas hookups and things like that. So they keep saying they're trying to make it easier for people, but they haven't done that yet.
No.
Not yet.
Yeah, Lindsay just got hers approved, but I don't think she started yet. I'm hoping she hears that.
No, I haven't. I just signed a contract with the contractor, but I haven't started.
Gotcha. Are you keeping pretty good docs on that to see what it's from start to finish, time and cost?
Yeah, so far I spent $7,276.23. I have it right in front of me.
So how are you pulling the power, water, and sewer for it?
So it's going to be, since I'm trying to do that as an Airbnb, I don't really care much about having an extra meter.
Okay.
But for the electric, they're going to do, I guess they can do like a meter that's not legit.
Yeah, so you put a meter on it, but that way you can track it, but it's not
Right.
going straight to power. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Basically.
So what that means you're going to tie into your normal water and tie into your existing
Right.
sewer then? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to save you a ton. No tap-in fees.
Right. No $15,000 water splitting meter.
So are you just adding an ADU to an existing place, Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm doing, my garage is detached in the back of the house, and I'm converting it into an ADU and an existing structure.
Oh, so it's a conversion ADU. It's not a ground up.
It's not a ground up, no.
Gotcha.
But still took 8 months to get permits.
Yeah. Yeah, building for anything out of the norm, building permit is not easy. At least we're not doing virtual inspections anymore.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask, this is on your primary?
This is on my primary, yes.
Okay.
In California.
So what made you think about doing that? Just extra cash flow?
I'm trying to get some kind of active income. It's like the short-term loophole in which you can do a cost segregation and do even bonus depreciation and write it off against your W-2.
Oh,
So
gotcha,
I have a
gotcha.
W-2 and I'm taxed heavily.
Gotcha. Did you already check and make sure that you can do an SDR out of there?
So since it's my primary and it's owner occupied, yes.
Okay.
But if it was a rental, no.
Because there's a bunch of places that they're starting to even crack down on that.
Right. As long as I live on the property, I can do it.
Gotcha.
But you don't have to live in the ADU.
No, I don't have to live in the area.
Okay. That was one of the stipulations for my mom's place, was that she would have had to live in the secondary unit if she wanted to rent out the primary home.
Mhm.
Each area is different.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that in both ways.
Mhm.
If like Mariposa County, I could do all three as an STR, but so you don't have to have primary at all.
Oh,
But yeah, in most other places you have to somebody has to occupy one or the other.
I'll let you know how long it takes. Probably 4 or 5 months.
Well, you're
Maybe
probably not going to break
longer.
ground for another month, right? Well, no, you don't. You're in an existing building. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I don't need to worry about that, but they're still projecting 4 months and contractors, so it's gonna be like more like 6 months.
Hey, don't give us such a hard time.
I'm just foreseeing the future, that's all.
Yeah, I know. I know. Understand. Well, we got a project we're working on. 3 of the toilets came in broken. Right.
Most of the times it's not your guys' fault, it's just inspection timelines and all of that.
Well, you can blame that on us too. Because if we don't schedule it properly, we don't organize it and get it to the point where the inspections are run on time. Well, that goes on us. So yeah, I'll take blame when it's due. That's for sure. I just won't take it when it's not.
But this little 366 square feet is gonna cost me around 100 grand.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Where are you at? LA?
Yeah, Los Angeles.
That's why. That's going to get way more expensive in 2 years too.
I know my contractor was telling me, I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, but the tariffs, are they impacting your, I mean, I don't know if California, another friend, oh, Jack is there. Hi, guys.
They have not started yet, but they will be.
Right. He was saying that he wanted to buy all the materials right there, like right now, before anything changes.
I don't
So,
blame him.
right. So
Yeah,
we're
anything
restructuring
coming from
payments.
overseas, especially China, definitely get it as quick as you can.
I know. So we're starting next week, but like I'm gonna try to record the whole thing. See what
Yeah,
happens.
all of my suppliers have sent us emails saying that the tariffs will be adjusting prices as they come in.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna sign the contract, right? I already signed the contract, so it can be going out right now.
so what, so it's your garage, so they'll be cutting in for your new bathroom and running all the new plumbing and everything that way.
Yeah. So it's going to be a 1 bedroom with vaulted ceiling. So it's 1 bedroom, small kitchen, one small living room.
Okay, that's nice.
It's gonna be a casita or something like that.
Uh-huh. Very cool. That is a lot of money per square foot, though, when you put it that way.
It is a lot of money. And when I was getting quotes, the highest I got was like 140K.
Yeah, that just seems little out of line to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with LA, but that seems pretty. Are you adding bathroom and kitchen?
Yes.
Are they having to jackhammer out the entire floor?
Uh-huh.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so I saved some money by pulling the permits with an architect, but still all together, I think I'm just around 98,000.
Are you including permit costs in that too?
Yeah.
Okay. So construction costs are around 82.
Construction cost is going to be 91.
91. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's right in there. Yeah.
Oh my God, Mikey, are you okay?
Not sure if he.
Yeah, in recovery mode right now. I'll be okay.
Is your girlfriend here? Maybe she can take care of you.
She left that day, actually
Oh
earlier in the day.
no.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, the timing of it.
Lindsay, are you in Vegas now?
No, I'll be there Friday. I'm local, so I'm local, but I'm 4 hours away. I'm
Oh,
gonna be
you're
there
driving?
Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it okay to ask Lindsay, what is your day job?
I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner.
Okay.
Takes the majority of my time.
I can imagine. And all of your stuff, you were waiting for a project to start in Gary. Did that one get rolling?
No, I'm with you guys. Everything's cold. Everything's frozen. Waiting on two properties. One of them, the furnace is not working, so nobody can go in until the furnace is fixed. And the other one, I'm getting gas lines repiped, so those are waiting for inspection from the architect. So he's nowhere to be found. And the one that I just recently closed on, hopefully will start tomorrow. That one has all of the utilities hooked up, so it shouldn't be a lag on the work. So those three are currently ongoing.
That's a lot going at one time.
Yeah, and I'm about to start my ADU next week, so just more to the plate. And I have two jobs, so pray for me.
Yeah, we're here for you.
Are you documenting everything as far as progress reports? You can put it on Frank's YouTube channel.
Do you have progress reports on your YouTube channel, Frank?
You videotape the whole progress of the ADU. Then you can put it on Frank's channel.
Yeah. I'm going to start. I have to clear. I clear majority of the garage, but I still have some things that I have to move. I'm gonna start recording just me picking out boxes and storing it. But yeah, next week it starts. But it's been raining here in LA, so I don't know if that's gonna be delayed also.
Yeah, I like to try to document our projects and stuff, but I always get too excited and just want to get the work going and I forget to push record.
I used to do it for years and then it just got too old.
Yeah.
Lindsay, are you running into mudslides?
No, I'm not in a floating area.
I haven't even heard of any reports of flooding on the burn area either, so I wonder.
Are you guys having fun collecting all your information for taxes?
My stuff's already done, but I don't have any properties. I just have my business.
I have all my papers all over my desk right now looking at me.
So are you what system are you using? Do you do anything as far as like I'm thinking about Baseline for banking because it keeps all that stuff tracked. And you can compartmentalize it. Are you doing anything like that for a bank account, or are you just kind of doing spreadsheets?
Doing spreadsheets.
Okay.
And I've been very bad. I'm putting different credit cards, different charges. So now I'm tracking all 2024 and it's just taking hours.
Yeah, that's I'm on top of my stuff all the time. I'm looking at all my accounts every week, almost every other day. I have to for cash flow. Otherwise my cash flow gets all screwed up. And then, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It still takes a while at the end of the year, but yeah. But you're also not running a business. You've got your normal stuff.
I am kind of running my business.
Well, yeah.
So that's added.
And you have property managers for everything, right?
Correct.
Oh, thank you, by the way. I did get in contact.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, as soon as I find out about this property, I've got offers in on this one property. As soon as I find out from that, if those two start, I'll finish those up, and then I'm going to probably start in Gary.
Lindsay, are you working with the same PM that Mike uses?
I think Mike has 3 PMs, so I'm using one of his PMs. I'm finally gonna get to meet Mike this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't know he had 3 different ones.
Yeah, I think the majority of his properties, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been talking to Mike for a while now. But the majority of his properties are with my property manager. But I know he has an additional 2.
The one that we're with was kind of associated with the Olson Group that we bought the turnkey through, and their one property solutions. They've been pretty good.
Yeah, I know he has a few turnkey, right? From Olson property too. So I'm not 100% sure that he still has that property manager. But Vicky from CBS Properties is mine. So I know he works with Vicky and he works with Angelo, which is I referred Jim to Angelo. He also has a property management company. And I know he has another one, but I'm not 100% sure which one that was.
Okay. Jim, if you ended up picking properties up in Gary, would you go there and do the work yourself?
My thought was, which I'm not sure of right now, was to go there, bring 1 or 2 of my guys out and do one. And then at the same time, have another crew doing another one. That way I can keep track of both of them, make sure they're doing what I want done. And then I would have more confidence in somebody else doing it because I'm kind of a control freak. So that was my thought, but I don't know if it's going to pencil out because their cost of labor is way cheaper than mine. So I'm not sure. I will definitely go out there myself, but I don't know if I'll bring a crew out.
Okay.
And I'm gonna definitely in June or July, I'm gonna be going out there for 3 to 5 days. Once I get the money out of the properties that I'm gonna be rehabbing shortly, or if this one doesn't go through, I might go out there sooner. Because I want to get boots on ground, take a look at everything, get some ideas of areas where I want to be. Because I'm thinking about getting 3 or 4.
Okay.
And doing them all at the same time and bundling the loan. So get it all done in 3-4 months. Get somebody in there before winter. Get all I'm debating probably doing all Section 8. I think it might be less or a little bit more headache to begin with, but I think it'll be easier in the end run. Just thoughts. I haven't done enough research on it. I did a whole bunch of looking at the history of Gary, the areas of Gary, and everything else. I was just trying to find that file because I do all these things. I write these notes down on things and I don't put them in the right file. Then I have to find them again and relabel them. But yeah, I plan on getting boots on ground. That's why I wanted to get a hold of that agent. So
That sounds like a good way to go about it, though. If you can be out there working, not necessarily alongside the other contractors, but you'll be able to see their work. And
yeah,
it seems like meeting them face to face, you could have a little bit better trust that way if once you leave.
Everything's about confidence for me. If I've got confidence in it, I just keep going, and then that's just going one after another. Because that's the nice part about doing the rehab part of it is you can get your money back to start it all over again.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'll probably do that before I do a short-term rental. Even though I really want to do a short-term rental, I want to do a glamping site. It just seems like it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, you could start bringing in some cash flow while you're working on the other project too. Yeah.
Exactly. Correct. I figure I'll get probably 6 or 7 in the next 12 months ish, long-term rentals, and then to possibly look into a short term. Unless I'll keep my my mind open though. If something comes around I just can't pass up, I'll jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like everyone knows, if I can find private money, it'll go even faster.
Yeah.
Then it's just a matter of managing everything. So that's the ultimate goal. If I can find a couple private money people, I'm off to the races then. Because then I can continue my remodeling business and start doing stuff either out of state or local, wherever. So I have a little bit. I have a good amount to get started with, and just make all that work first, and then go from there. So I'm a dealer for 5 cabinet lines. I'm a dealer for flooring companies. I'm a dealer for plumbing, and so I get cost. Yeah, I'm not buying from Home Depot, although I do buy a lot from Home Depot. Everybody knows.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. And I don't know if I've ever heard, or if you mind me asking, if you're married.
I am, yes. 3 older kids. Everybody, most of them are out of the house. Actually, they're all out of the house, but one came back. That wasn't his choice. That was a work thing. So, but that's my mom too. So back at you. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I was just asking because sometimes it comes up in conversation whether or not the spouse is on board with our plans.
Yeah, that's a different subject. I've run my business myself the entire time. I'm trying to get her involved in it. Because if something happens to me, I need her to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's because right now I'm going to be 55. I have nothing in retirement. I have Social Security, and that's it. That's not going to get us very far.
Yeah, nope. I'm on that road right now.
Yeah. I mean, I had a decent amount in the house because we're in California, but I just pulled that HELOC out, and I still have a decent amount in the house, but still, it's not enough for 20 years.
No. Chris was saying he's looking for people to get together for dinner on Thursday and Friday, I think he said.
Yes, no offense, Denny's is not my dinner aspirations for Thursday night.
Just dessert.
When I travel, I'm going to budget a nice, healthy dinner.
Yeah, it won't be until Friday, so.
But I am looking for Friday dinner companions. I will do anything but Mexican. So.
Gotcha. Are you on that what's it called thing? WhatsApp? Chat?
WeChat, WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm on that. Yeah.
No, are you on the one with Chester Williams and everything?
I think so. I know Robert and I and somebody else started it, but I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, when you said no Mexican, was it the person or the food?
Yeah, I spent it at half of my clients are in Texas. And when I visit my teams, they hate me because they're like, oh crap, Chris is coming. We're gonna have to like find the only Japanese restaurant in Dallas, or we're gonna have to have like steak again. I don't enjoy it. That's all.
Too much oil.
The mushiness and the beans, and it's just like doesn't do it for me. But hey, I'm quirky. What can I say? But I could eat. I could live breakfast, dinner, and lunch. And dinner. I could live Japanese sushi, sashimi all day long, and die a happy man. So
You have a place you like out there?
I do not. I mean, I'll do steak, fish, Italian, Indian, Vietnamese, Cambodian, Thai. I'll do any of that stuff. Right? Ethiopian.
Where are you staying?
I travel a lot for work, so I've got a ton of Marriott points. So I'm staying at the there's a hotel. I'll tell you, up in the Art District. It's not on the Strip. It's not on the Strip.
Art District. Oh, I love that place. On Main Street, yeah. There's a lot of places to eat, drink there.
Yeah, Hotel English or something like that.
I
The
want
English
to stay there
Hotel.
one day. I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, you picked like the best location in Vegas to stay in.
Yeah, it's a cool location. Not too far from the venue. I mean, I
Oh.
to be honest, I do miss the excitement of the Strip, but this is
No, but that's the
nice.
point of it. It's nice and cool. It's not like the Strip. It's nice and calm, and there's the food all around you, and drinks too. There's a Cerveza. That's a great bar over there.
Yeah, it's a great bar, great restaurant. It's a cool place to just hang. So.
No. The Todd English. But I'm talking about Cerveza with the S. Cerveza. There's a bar a few blocks away from you. Really good bar.
It's cool. I will say this: like last year, I think I forget if it was U2 or the Dead was playing in the Sphere, and I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. Like I regret that so much. If anybody good is in the Sphere, it's Friday night, and I can buy a crazy expensive ticket, I'm just going to do it. It's like that looks like such a cool venue. I'm dying to try it.
Have you seen the movie in the Sphere? They do a movie every night.
No, I haven't. I
Same
walked by.
movie.
I was out there about a month ago meeting a potential somebody I was trying to recruit, and we walked around. They had the whole city set up for the F1 event, and we walked around the perimeter. It's very cool, right? But no, I didn't go inside.
It's $100 to go watch the movie, but I think it's well worth it. Do it once in your life, you know.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe that's Friday night, right? Friday night we'll do dinner, and dinner, it'll be like date night, right? It'll be like, we'll see a movie in the Sphere, and then we'll grab a dinner somewhere, and that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do the Sphere sometime too.
I'm dying to try the Sphere. I'm just dying to try it.
Yeah. Also, right by you on Main Street, there's a good barbecue place south of you.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, right on Main Street. I forget the name of it. Soul, S-O-U-L, Soul Barbecue. Really good barbecue, but they run out of stuff after 3:00, so it's more of a lunch or breakfast.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. I'm
They
used to
run out of
Hard
good
Eight
stuff.
down at I'm used to like Hard Eight down in Dallas. Like Dallas has some great barbecue places, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean Southern California doesn't really, so it's like any good barbecue place is what I really like. Steak and barbecue.
Both work. I had to route my business travel through Chicago so I could justify them paying for my trip out to Vegas. And I just had to pay for the return. So I'm sitting in a JW Marriott here in Chicago for a work meeting tomorrow, which I engineered. Then instead of flying home, I'm just going to fly to Vegas. You're like, yeah, it's fine. So. Frank, I am really, I wonder at some point if we have to map out the progression that you talked about earlier. Like, you start by buying turnkey. It's all about confidence, right? And then confidence and capital, right? Once you build the confidence and the capital, which really actually nowadays means either your personal wealth or debt, your debt relationships, right? To be able to go to like, lipstick mods to, hardcore mods to gut rebuilds to
build for rent. Like for me, like the part of it was capital, personal capital. Part of it was personal confidence. Part of it was building relationships with local commercial lenders. But I'll be honest, now I'm looking at the returns. So I'm like, yeah, I might find some seller financing, desperate sellers. But like, I was really intrigued by Coach Carson's video this week to say, like, maybe I have to add that other tool to my tool chest. Say I need to be looking not just for 60 days plus in MLS and what I can find, and I'll talk to Jen, and maybe Jen can help me find some wholesale deals. But like I'm almost one. I wonder. I'm like, gosh, do I need to be looking for land? And like that's a whole new thing for me. Like I'm a newbie, right? I don't know where I'm going to start, but it's interesting, the progression. I wonder at some point it'd be good to map that out. Also, a lot of the new members kind of see like, hey, this is the normal progression. You may find this as you seek larger returns. This is the path you're going to take, right? Because I'm in private equity, right? I mean, private equity is just people used to buy stock saying, yeah, I could own 2% of a company, or I could buy the company and then I have a lot more control and I can get better returns, right? So it's all about chasing the return.
It's funny you're talking about land. I'm actually looking at land right now, but the reason I'm looking at land is more for short-term rental and clamping. I'm not looking at it for long-term.
Got it. Short-term rental scares the crap out of me, but God bless you, brother. It's all good.
Well, because the thing is, in my opinion, with short-term rentals, it's got to be the experience. It's got to be something out of the box that looks really nice, that is different than everything else out there. And that's what I'm looking to do with raw land. Pop 3 or 4 units on it, because in Mariposa, where I'm actually looking, you can put 3 800,000 square foot units on there, rent them out at $300-400 a night. And they're different owned private areas. So the return on that $150,000.
Yeah, totally.
But it'll take years to get it done.
Because look. If I were to be super like crass, right? You're only going to make high returns in MLS if you buy from a desperate and naive seller, right? Which is and you can do that, right? But like otherwise, it's the value add that really enables you to go from a -2 or a 2% return to a 9% return, right? And the more the more value add you're willing to do, the more, which is all about complexity and capital investment, probably the higher return you should make, right? Obviously, how you negotiate the deal. So I'm actually excited. Like I'm like I don't know squat about land, and but I've got enough momentum behind me. Like if I were to spend like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 80 grand on land and try and develop it, and I already tried to buy one deal where I was trying to do a zoning change and get a variance, and so I got a little.
Yeah, don't go through all that.
Yeah, so I got a little bit of that. Like I had some of those scars, and by the way, that deal failed miserably.
Yeah,
I had 32 people from the neighborhood turn out to, wire brush me as my Navy family would say, for 2 hours. But like I'm excited because I think that could be really interesting, right? Like I'm looking at a couple of properties I have now, and I'm like, gosh, like I could bulldoze this thing. I could build 12 townhomes, and I could see I could see the neighborhood maybe supporting that, and that would be like that could be awesome. That could be like generational wealth, right? So, but like I'm still early in that journey, but I'm excited, right? And that could be kind of cool. So.
Yes, I'm looking for those type of deals. Probably 3 years. I don't have enough confidence in that part of it. I have to do a lot more research and figure things out and be able to control it, and I can't control it now. Now, have you done any research on Jen's setup? Is that she's just giving you phone numbers? Then you have to call the homeowner, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
And then how long is that going to last? So you can get all those, and if you don't keep in contact with that person all the time, that could go away, and then your money's wasted.
I know that's the wild card. I mean, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, so that's why I love the idea. And I don't think you're going to deal with that right now. That's
Hi.
too much keeping up on.
All right, stay here. Get my stuff. We're gonna go to the restaurant.
So what's for dinner tonight? You didn't hear me.
Not Mexican.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm the other advantage of being in Chicago is my daughter's in Chicago, so I'm gonna sneak her upstairs for dinner. So I'm gonna go, Frank. Good to see you guys. See you in those of you who are in Vegas. I'll see you then.
Take care, Chris.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey, you guys should have had him go over to Gary and check on your houses.
Yeah. It was Esther was there when she was looking around. She went and took pictures of ours for us. That was really sweet.
See, that's one thing that really interests me with Gary. It's really close to Chicago, and that's surprising to me that it hasn't built up in that soon a time.
Yeah, it's improved. I mean, just in the couple years that we've, that Millennial Mike, when he started there, and they're talking about some new businesses coming in and things like that. Even if it's not all the way in Gary, between Gary and Chicago, it doesn't. He was talking about some kind of railway or something that might be in the works, and if that goes in, people would be commuting from Gary into Chicago. That could.
Yeah, see, that's what really piques my interest about Gary. So you're building something that's going to be something in a few years. It's going to take some time, but you're part of that building process, and I love that idea.
Yeah.
So actually, in Gary, already have commuter train.
Oh, they do.
Goes all the way to the east side and all the way to Chicago. So people has been using it actually.
Oh.
How
Yeah,
many
it's just
hours
like
to get to Chicago on the train?
so from Gary to Chicago is 30 minutes. 30 minutes
Wow.
by train.
A lot quicker than Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's what got me interested was that.
Now, you found yours turnkey, right?
Yeah, we bought ours turnkey with the same company that Mike used.
Yeah, that's one of my drawbacks. I have a lot of confidence in my framer. I don't know their framers. In a lot of these, I've been just looking on MLS. They have some structure issues. They have some roof issues, and I trust my guys. I don't know anybody else. So that's a real hard thing to release that control.
Yeah, I think
No.
that's why I think
Where are you located? Where are you located, Jim?
Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem going out there and staying there for 30, 60 days. I'll fly home a little bit every once in a while here and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking for Gary or St. Louis, but it's a little tougher on us. The main person that helps me can't leave his family for many days at a time. So that, so my thinking was, like I mentioned earlier, to go there and start working with some people, work alongside them.
So I just get an Airbnb for a month and bring one of my guys over, and he has no problem. He can travel. He has friends, but it's not like he's doing stuff every day.
Yeah.
I haven't verified that with him, but I'm pretty sure he'd do it. You think it would be fun and different. The ultimate one is to buy a house in France. I've been looking at that for a long time.
Then he'd go for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had some customers that moved to Germany, and they're just going to stay there for a couple years. And they called me up and said, "Hey, we're going to sell the house. Can you go over and do a couple things? We're not coming back."
Wow.
Well, the way he put it, our weekend trip is going up to the hills. His weekend trip is going to France or Switzerland or wherever. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
How did he break his collarbone, or she?
Oh, Mikey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he rides a bike for exercise, and he said he went off a curb and it threw him into the street.
Ouch.
Yeah, yeah, he was all set to fly out today too. But and then he said he told us a little while ago that he fractured a couple of ribs too, so he's a little sore.
Yeah, I was on the same flight as Mark too, so it's kind of funny.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. I had a car pull out in front of me, went right over it.
Oh,
That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it's been a while since I broke my collarbone too, probably 8 or 10 years. There's not much you can do about it except let it repair itself.
Yeah, I'm not too good at that. Every cast I've had has been off in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So what are you doing when we're all in Vegas?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just our regular stuff, just working. I have a few small projects going right now. Interior paint and things like that. It's been raining pretty good here. I'm thankful all of our stuff is interior remodeling, so we've been lucky to be able to stay busy throughout the years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't do any new construction.
Yeah, I don't either. My insurance won't allow it.
Oh,
I don't want to pay 10 grand a year.
yeah, it's pretty tough. I know mine's just renewing. I think this year, most years it's been around 1,400, but this year's 18 or 19.
Yeah, I'm at 38.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But
They
new,
just-
I actually looked into new construction because I wanted to be able to install appliances, and it was going to be between 10 and 12,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, no, I ain't doing that. Well, when I was back doing home inspections, that was $6,400 a year for insurance.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was nuts. It's one of the reasons I got out of it. Then I had to rely on the real estate agents for the work.
Uh-huh.
And I got in a couple arguments with the real estate agents. I'm calling recalled roofs, and they called me. I lost the deal because no, you didn't. You didn't lose the deal because of me. You had to tell them that too. You just didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got tired of it. Went back to contracting. What's funny is though, I learned more from taking that CREA test,
Mm-hmm.
the course, than I did from getting my contractor's license.
Yeah, I know. I always thought that was funny. There was hardly any real construction questions on the test. It was all legal stuff.
Yep. Yeah, the biggest problem I have with the contractors board and everything else, have some continuing education requirements. I do it anyway. I'm part of NARI. You have some continuing education. Get this riffraff out of there. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Are you a part of any other organizations like NARI or NKBA or anything like that?
No, I never went that far. When I first started out back in 1990, I was basically started out like a handyman, just doing small fix-it type stuff. And then the jobs kept growing and growing. I worked without a license for probably 10 years. And then I ran into a lady she had issues and she turned me into the state license board. So they let me off. I didn't do anything wrong, but she was telling them I was doing roofing and all this stuff. And I don't like to get up on a roof. And they told me, I needed to get my license because if I got another complaint like that, it would be, I think she said 5 years before I could get my license after that.
Gotcha.
So I just took the online course thing and went down to Oakland and took my test and passed it. I'm glad I did.
So are you a general then, or?
Yeah, just a general.
Yeah, I'm a general too, but I do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've had to learn, over the years. I do everything, like I said too, but plumbers and electricians, most of my jobs are so small, they don't have much interest.
No, right, for sure.
Yeah.
Think about a bathroom. You're having to do everything, and a plumber's not going to want to come in and take a couple things apart. They're going to charge you too much to do it. Same thing with the electrical in it.
Exactly.
That's why I've always done all my own stuff, and then it just got more and more and more as time went on.
Yeah, I was lucky to find some good subs that I could learn beside, just watch them for the first few times that they were doing it, and they're always available if I have questions or anything like that. So, and have some pretty good relationships that way.
Yeah, I'm having to get back into the bidding thing because the company I was doing a lot of work for is kind of putting everything on hold. So now I have to go back out and re-ask. It's like, man, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
why I really want to get into the rehab with the buying holds, because that's just work. I can get that done, flip that, start a new one. I'd rather
Right.
that route than the actual remodeling again.
Yeah, estimates and paperwork are my downfall. I hate that kind of stuff.
Now, I don't mind the estimate as much. I don't like the indecisiveness of the customers
Mm,
and the changes and just I want to be able to be in control of it and get it done in a quickly, timely fashion. And a lot of times, they don't let you be in control of it that way.
uh, yeah, we used to do a lot of work for local agents and stuff too, but it always seemed like whatever they called me for was on a deadline. It needed to be done yesterday. So
Yeah.
I got tired of dropping stuff to go help them out.
Yeah, I only drop stuff if it's. I will move stuff around if it's right next to me and I can do it quickly.
Hmm.
Like today, I did. I installed the dishwasher for one of the companies I do stuff for,
Mm,
but it happened to be 10 minutes away from where I was. So I will do that. I will do anything that's going to keep me in the same realm because that saves me time and money anyway.
yeah,
Especially when I'm getting 8 miles to the gallon.
right. What do you drive?
It's a Chevy 350 van, 14
Oh,
box van.
did you say van?
Box van, yeah.
Okay, yeah, box van.
I have way too much equipment. And I still don't have enough, and I have the box van, and I have a big shop, and I still don't have enough on the job site.
Yeah,
Very frustrating.
we've been lucky. I just drive regular E250 vans, and most of the stuff that I carry will do all of the projects that we do. If I have tile or something to set, I'll just bring my saw or
Yeah.
one or two specialty things once in a while. But it's been good over the years. I used to work out of a Toyota pickup.
Yeah.
That was a chore.
Yeah, I had a Mazda B, what, a B2200? Yeah, way back when. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Beat the crap out of that thing.
Yeah. Those were good little trucks though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they don't. That's one thing I want to 350 diesel, but man, they're expensive.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
just cannot put 100 grand on a truck. Maybe I'll make enough money and I can do it as a tax write off at the end of the year.
Yeah, everything's just gone crazy since COVID. I don't think I could ever afford a new vehicle. Mine are both 2000s.
Yeah, that's the thing that's nice about the box fans. Not everybody can buy them, so they're not as expensive.
Mm.
At least the times I've had to buy them, that's what I found. I got a really good price on them.
Good deal.
The trucks I'm looking at, 40, 50 grand, and they have 200 something thousand miles on them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do that.
No, yeah, they're over 100 new.
Yeah. And they ask us why we're so expensive.
Yeah.
That means my insurance is freaking $3,500 a year for that truck.
Yeah, just that keeps adding up. Yeah. Well, it looks like we might finish up early tonight, unless anybody has any other questions. And so you said you're going in Friday, huh?
Yeah, I go on Friday.
All right.
Yeah, I have too many projects going right now to leave earlier. I
Yeah.
did change my flight to Monday because my flight was going to be like at 8 o'clock, and I'd have to be at the airport at 6. And no, I don't want to do that. So I changed it to go out for a Monday morning.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we'll see you, I guess, after you get back. We'll
Yep.
be waiting to hear about all the fun stuff you guys get to do. So yeah, I think that's it. I appreciate you guys coming, and
Thanks so much.
we'll
I
look
appreciate
forward to seeing you next week.
it. Okay.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks,
All
Anna.
right,
Good to see you
thanks.
all. Talk to you soon.
Bye.